business during the board meetings, and this board welcomes public comment as designated on the agenda. The board expects all speakers to respect the rights of others by conducting themselves in a civil and courteous manner at all times. Our goal is to ensure the right of the public comment is safeguarded without compromising the efficiency and effectiveness of board meetings. This announcement was designed to allow all people who wish to speak the opportunity to address the board and ensuring that each topic proposed for discussion receive the attention of the board during unscheduled oral communication. This statement is intended to set forth procedures applicable during unscheduled oral communication to allow the board to conduct its business in an efficient and orderly manner while ensuring that individuals who wish to address the board have an opportunity to do so.
Thank you. Okay, so we have Miss Patsy Montgomery first, followed by Jessica Mahoney.
Thank you, Board Chair, Superintendent, Trustees. I am a co-parenting grandmother of a kindergartner at Yokomi Elementary and resident of District 2 in Fresno Unified School District. As allies of the LGBT community, I'm here to add my family's voice in condemning the offensive comments made by the board chair as reported in the Fresno Bee. As a Christian woman, as the grandmother of a Muslim grandson, our family supports not only the LGBT community, but the Healthy Youth Act, which mandates that sexuality education be non-biased, medically accurate, age-appropriate, and comprehensive. We know that people have healthier lives when they are given the knowledge and skills they need to have positive and safe relationships. The Healthy Youth Act helps young people navigate relationships and encourages parent-child communication. As you are aware, parents who object can opt out of this life-saving education. I was pleased with the swift response of the interim superintendent to the offensive comments of the board chair. It gives me hope that Fresno Unified School District will work hard at keeping ideology out of the classroom and provides information that is fact-based and inclusive of the sexual orientation, gender, and gender identity of the students and families that make up the diverse district. As a fellow of the Centers for Disease Control in Schools of Public Health, the Public Health Institute for HIV Prevention Leadership, I know the importance of non-biased sexuality education in keeping our young people healthy in mind, body, and spirit. Thank you very much.
Ms. Mahoney.
Good evening, Board, President. My name is Jessica Mahoney. I'm one of your contracted bus drivers for your special needs students. I'm also an LGBT identifying person. I don't identify myself unless I'm asked by staff or students. And if they ask me, I will tell them. If a child comes to me with questions, I tell them to go to the school nurse or a teacher or a staff member you can trust. I don't put up with bullying on my bus or around the schoolyard when I see it. Your comments were offensive not only to the students, but to the staff. And I'm understanding Channel 30 is quoting you as you were misquoted. Either way, the damage is done. You said what you said. It's in black and white. A lot of people calling you to be fired, whatnot. I don't believe in that. You know, I believe everybody has a second chances because we teach our students to, learn from their mistakes. And all I'm asking for is you should give a written apology, maybe take tolerance classes. And you did such a good job in March with your resolution. And if you go back and read that, it will get with your goals, support learning, higher education, leadership. We have so many goals. It's written all over our schools. And we have to realize we live in a different world now. This is not Leave It to Beaver. A lot of us grew up in different cultures, different eras. We have to be respectful of everybody's views, but laws are the laws, and everybody deserves to get the proper education that benefits to them and their needs. Other than that, my other question is, I got 18 seconds, I'm a bus driver. We have a lot of construction going around these schools. I'm gonna be driving for Ayers. Half the road was closed today on my dry run. I'm going to have to detour my route in the afternoon to take students home. And I'm just concerned about the bus zone safety, getting able to park the bus in the bus zone safely. And I'm also a bus driver, and I follow the same rules that everybody else, and a lot of schools don't treat us as bus drivers. They tell us to park in the handicap zone or somewhere illegally. And I just maybe send out a memo to the principals that we do need help with parking issues when school starts. Thank you.
Karen Stoffers Pugh, followed by Tamara Norris.
Thank you. Superintendent, President, and Board. I am Reverend Karen Stoffers Pugh, and I am an ordained elder in the United Methodist Church, currently serving Wesley United Methodist Church in the El Dorado Park neighborhood of Fresno. In 1984, the members of Wesley voted to become a reconciling congregation. We welcome and celebrate all people as members and participants in all avenues of church life, regardless of their gender identification or who they love. Wesley members and constituents are gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, and straight allies. No one taught us how to choose who to love. We were, as the song says, born this way. We understand that our Creator knew us when we were knit together in our mother's wombs and loves each of us as we were created, gay or straight. Our Constitution allows us the freedom whether to follow a particular religion or no religion at all. And I remind the board that there are more than just Jews and Christians in Fresno. There are Muslims and Sikhs and Buddhists and deists, agnostics, pagans, and atheists. There are Christians of many different denominations with many different understandings regarding the authority of Scripture. As the school board, your role is to help prepare students and give them a good education. It is not your role to decide what Judeo-Christian morals should be taught to them. I want to bring up just a few things from a paper published by the Human Rights Campaign. When you work with only abstinence-only curriculum, you promote fear of same-sex attraction, you reinforce gender stereotypes and heterosexual relationships, it mandates heterosexual marriage, disparages non-traditional families such as single mothers, and it stigmatizes LGBTQ people. And I call for more understanding and for an apology from you to your community.
Thank you, Ms. Pugh. Ms. Norris.
Hello, President, Superintendent, and Board. My name is Tamara Norris. I'm a parent, a teacher, and an LGBT confidant. There has been some kind of a misunderstanding between the difference of morality and education. Morality really speaks to the principles of right and wrong as a judgment. Education is the act or the process of imparting knowledge or skills to another person. We're educators. That's what we do. I would like to know when we bring out our curriculum for history, for math, for sports, if we concern ourselves with the morality or the education of those curriculums. If we don't, then why is sex education any different? It shouldn't be different because we are trying to impart our knowledge on them. A couple of words that maybe you're not familiar with. Heteronormative denotes a view that promotes the idea that heterosexuality is normal or the preferred sexual orientation. Cisgender denotes a person whose sense of personal identity and gender corresponds with their birth sex. And stealth. Stealth is when a transgender person hides the fact that they are transgender. As a confidant, I have been given permission to speak on behalf of multiple stealth transgender people in our school system. And the comments that were made honestly made them afraid. They were afraid and they contacted me to be a voice. Because when we limit what we're educating our students, it actually targets people of the LGBT community. What it does is it directly affects the population with emotional distress, psychological distress, and a genuine concern of physical injury to oneself because it reinforces the heteronormativity and
Thank
the
you, Ms. Norris.
cisgendered idea.
Thank you. Ms. Pamela Beck.
Hi, thanks for the chance to talk. 30 years ago, I was a teacher in Fresno Unified, and in those days, we 6th grade teachers taught sex ed. The curriculum was abstract, bare bones, and entirely organized around heterosexuality. Being gay or anything other than heterosexual was never mentioned by adults. Among students, it was an excuse for bullying. One of my students, 4 years later, hanged himself at his parents' house. And word on the street was that he had been in agony over his sexuality. I don't think that many of us want to perpetuate that era. And if Fresno Unified's current sex ed curriculum introduces the variability of human sexuality in an informative and non-judgmental way, I fully support that. In addition, I would like to see the board consistently voice this simple message that I think we all need to communicate to students. Being gay or straight or transgender or queer or bisexual is okay. Thank you.
Dr. Kevin Macy Iotti, followed by Bill Nezevich.
President Ashton, my name is Kevin Macy Ayotte. I'm a professor of communication at Fresno State, one of your constituents in Northwest Fresno, and a parent of a 6th grader at Mallock Elementary, where I also served as their PTA president for 2 years. Your statements in that recent Fresno Bee article are unconscionable for a leader of public education. You are entitled to your personal beliefs and to raise your family as you see fit, but you have failed to uphold your responsibility to promote a safe and welcoming environment for all of our district students. First, your statement, quote, if you start telling them that LGBT is okay and that it's a way of life, well, maybe you've just swayed the kid to go that way, unquote, is both uninformed and offensive to many families in the district. There is no credible research supporting your assertion that sex ed mentioning the LGBTQ community is going to influence student sexuality, and someone in your position should not be making up such falsehoods. More importantly, my son has 2 dads who happen to be gay, and your statement implies that there is something wrong with that. You are entitled to your private beliefs for your family, but in your public role, you have no right to denigrate any of the district's families simply because they don't conform to your particular religious beliefs. Your job is not to teach my son to be ashamed of his family or to teach other children to devalue people different from them, period. Second, although you are entitled to raise your family according to your religious beliefs, as a leader of a public school district, you have no right to proclaim in your official capacity that, quote, it's so important for parents to teach these Judeo-Christian philosophies, unquote. You have not only encouraged a hostile environment toward those who are of Muslim, Sikh, and other faiths, or of no faith at all, but you also come dangerously close to promoting a religious viewpoint in a public school system. I do not proselytize in the performance of my public job duties, and neither should you. We deserve much better from the leadership of this school board. You must be able to distinguish between your private beliefs and the role to which you were elected.
Thank you, Dr. Iotti. Bill Nezevich.
Good evening, Board. I should be at the hospital right now visiting people, but because of you, I'm here. Your bigoted remarks, your ignorant remarks. You know, I'm 60 years old. I've been a pastor for 28 years. I'm the pastor of Our Savior's Lutheran Church here. For 60 of those years, I've been gay. As a young man, a youth, and a child, I was regularly beaten and sometimes left to dead because of people like you. Now, I don't know what to say. You know, you should not be board president. You know, other people are being nicer to you. But I know because I work with kids who are LGBTQ and myself being gay. I worked with kids in the San Francisco Night Ministry who were kicked out of their families because of philosophies like yours. Who knows where they ended up? I agree wholeheartedly with the last speaker. Your opinion is your opinion. Your theology is your theology. But keep it out of the public realm.
Luis Hernandez, followed by Mr. Fabella.
All right, kind of short, sorry. All right, thank you everyone for giving us this time to speak on the matter. I'm also going to follow through with everyone else that spoke. According to Mr. Ashtian's comments through the Fresno Bee, I felt alienated as a former LGBT youth, as if my health didn't matter to you. Furthermore, I just want to use some of my time to just give a shout out to everybody that came here to support LGBT youth. Can I get a round of applause? 41% of our teenagers are sexually active, according to a report done in 2015. Now, going forward, do we really want any percentage of these teenagers to find out how to have sex through other people? We should be regulating this kind of education. It should be regulated, it should be well thought out, and they shouldn't be learning it from random strangers. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Fabella, followed by Emily Cameron.
Board President, Board Interim Superintendent Nelson. Let me just stay off the top here. I'm a Roman Catholic, okay, so my church is extremely conservative when it comes to LGBTQ. My family, I have gay and lesbians in my family, cousins. I have a nephew that just got married this past July. When we were dancing and he asked me, Andrew, do you love me? And I said, well, let me ask you this question, are you happy? And he says, yes. And I said, well, then the other thing is, in the Bible it says, judge not, yes, let ye be judged. And I don't tend to pretend that I have the knowledge that God has. So the only thing I can do is I'm going to support you and love you as best I can for the rest of your life or the rest of mine. I believe this school district can initiate a fact-based program that is factual. It can talk about women and male, their physiology and so forth, and I believe that there will be a need to help some parents when it comes to the morality aspect of it. Because I do believe that morality should be left to the parents, and the intellectual, the academic aspect should be left to the schools. I do believe our schools should be inclusive and should be respectful to our students who have differing ideas. And I just, God bless you, I love you but I'm just kind of disappointed, but I just hope that if this district, the school board is worried about this, then I think that you should immerse yourself and become a part of this program and how it's going to be designed and implemented. I think that's going to be a very important aspect of this board as a unit. Thank you.
Ms. Cameron, followed by Joel Perez.
Good evening. My name is Emily Cameron. I am an executive member at large of the LGBT caucus of the California Democratic Party. I am the first resident of the Central Valley ever elected to that caucus, so I understand that it's a big deal because 40% of the LGBT people in the state of California live in the Central Valley. That is from a study by UCLA. So for us in the Central Valley as, gay and lesbian, transgender, bisexual people, we really have to stick up for ourselves because we tend to get overlooked. And people tend to think of our valley as some podunk little town or some, backwoods place when really we're making these huge strides and this great progress. But remarks like yours, Mr. President, cast shame upon us. It is humiliating and embarrassing for me to say I'm from Fresno when I have ignorant remarks being made like that. And then I have people from other areas of the caucus who mock me for being from Fresno because people from Fresno are so ignorant. And why don't I just leave Fresno and go to San Francisco where it's okay to be gay? When I grew up, I went to Catholic school. So I did get those Judeo-Christian values. I got them for 15 out of my 17 years of life. I grew up with a Southern Baptist grandparents and on one side and Roman Catholic on the other. I'm very familiar with religion, a little too familiar for my taking. And despite all of that, despite being told it's not okay for me to be gay, that I'll go to hell, yada yada, I'm still here. I'm still bisexual. That didn't change a thing. So if you want to teach your children that they can't be gay, I have some bad news for you. I'm living proof that that doesn't work.
Thank you. Mr. Perez, followed by Jennifer Chow.
Okay, thank you, Board. And so I just wanted to tell you about American hero Helen Keller. She's quoted as saying, "The highest result of education is tolerance." So while this is universal in nature, it seems particularly appropriate in light of recent comments. Knowledge is what allows us human beings to assess risk in an informed way and to make judicious decisions that keep us from harm's way. When we as a society fail to arm our kids with scientific knowledge that they need in order to navigate perils, we set them up for failure. In the words of another beloved American icon and survivor of societal discrimination, RuPaul, if you don't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Despite my 13 years of private Catholic schooling, where I got also a lot of Judeo-Christian philosophies, my very nature all by itself was swaying me to go that way, as well as the lady that spoke before. That's how I know the California Healthy Youth Act is a gift to the children of California. It's a gift I never received for my education, and I think I should have received that gift, and I think every child should be so gifted by the adults in charge of their education. I applaud the state's legislators for taking a stand on that and mandating sex education. With his comments, Mr. Ashton not only laid bare for all of us the unmitigated ignorance and intolerant attitudes that underlie and form the basis of his decision-making processes, he's besmirched the school district, the reputation of Fresno, and the intelligence of all the people he was elected to represent. If you really want to stand for tolerance, diversity, and inclusiveness, an apology is not enough. The board needs to act to get this guy off of the board. And and to all those who endorse Mr. Ashton's election to this board, including the B, I suggest more diligence in vetting the candidates and asking whether or not this person has attained the highest goal of education, tolerance. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Chow. I am an attorney with the Fresno office of the ACLU of Northern California. I would like to start by saying that we recognize and appreciate the staff and educators of Fresno Unified and of our partners at Fresno Barrios Unidos who are deeply committed to providing sex education that complies with California laws and that meets the needs of Fresno students. That being said, in light of the board president's recent comments, I would like to share some information on the benefits of the kind of comprehensive sex education required by the California Healthy Youth Act. Our schools are diverse, and all students, including LGBT students, should see themselves reflected in sex education lessons. If our goal is to help young people make healthy decisions and be successful throughout their lives, sex education must be relevant to all students. The California Healthy Youth Act provides space for curricula that highlights the importance of diversity, inclusivity, and respect, and provides facts that are essential for every young person to grow up healthy. This knowledge, along with conversations with their families, helps young people make smart choices related to their sexual and reproductive health. More information from trustworthy sources is always better. It's important to remember that talking about the resources available to young people does not mean that they are necessarily going to use them. And if they do, it's important to ensure that they are accessing them from safe and trusted healthcare providers. We have no doubt that the school board recognizes the diversity of its students and the challenges they must navigate. The district's recent investments to improve social, emotional, and health resources for students demonstrates that as much. That is why students need modern, comprehensive sex education curricula developed by top-tier educators and policy experts with input from doctors and parents, and that's what's required under the California Healthy Youth Act, and that is currently what's being provided
Thank you,
by
Ms. Chow.
Fresno Unified. Thank you.
David Budavong, followed by Tremona Rivas. Press the button. There you go.
We're good? All right. Hello, everybody. My name is David Budavong. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am program manager at Fresno Barrios Unidos, and I'm tasked with providing half of Fresno Unified's Comp Sex Ed. We use the curriculum that's been approved by the board 2 years ago. It's called Positive Prevention Plus, and we teach this through our biology classes to freshmen. So if anyone has any questions about the curriculum, I'm available as well. I do want to say comprehensive sex ed gives students the knowledge and confidence they need to make healthy decisions. With honest, factual information, students can take charge and take over making those decisions for their life. And we also need to, make sure that we give them spaces to do that, and also offer resources as well. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Tremona Rivas, followed by Mr. Mackey.
First of all, I want to say that you guys...
Ma'am, you'll need to address the... Ma'am, you'll need to speak to the board in this way. Thank you.
What I want to say is that God bless you. John 14:6, it says that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. I am a former bisexual, lesbian, stud, all that, and I'm just going to tell you, I'm not happy. I was not happy, okay? I had to drink all the time and all that kind of stuff, take drugs and stuff like that. And I'm going to tell you right now, my son, he's 19 years old, but if he was a little boy, I would not approve this, because it was shown to me a long time ago, porn magazines by older people, porn videos, you know what I mean? I would not, you might as well show them a porn video while you at it. Might as well go ahead and say bestiality, and might as well go ahead and say, you know what I mean, like pedophile and all that is going to be, you know what I mean, right. I would not want my child being taught by any of these people back here, or any teacher that promotes same sex and all that kind of stuff, because it's not real, it's not holy, and and there is no love in hell. What one of the dudes said back there, there's no love in hell. Love is cold, all right? And I was going through hell when I was in the same sex. And plus, fornication ain't right either. It's the same thing. If you having sex, you're not married, it's the same thing as homosexuality. So you know what I'm saying? It's not right. You can get all type of STDs and AIDS and stuff too. So what I'm saying is that You know, it's just not right. I don't want no teachers teaching my kids, if I had little kids, or my nieces and nephews, you know, it's okay to kiss little boys. It's okay. And that transgender stuff in the library was not called for. When I was young, oh, man. I wish somebody would tell me, oh, it's okay to kiss a little girl. It's okay. Because when somebody was telling me this and teaching me that, I was thinking, oh, yeah, that was cool to do that. I think I want to try it. Because they showed it to me. And, you know what I mean? That's just not right. It's not right. And God bless you. Keep on doing what you're doing. If you got to lose your job, lose it. Okay? Because it's God over money.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Mackey. Give it to Jessica.
Forgive the pause. I was just handed a letter insisting I cease and desist using the name Fresno Watchdogs for ethical bidding. I will not be able to address that. Board President Ashton, members of the board, Assistant Superintendent or Interim Superintendent Nelson, my name is Ken Mackey. I'm an attorney with the firm of Canelo, Wallace, Padron, and Mackey in Merced, California, and I am here on behalf of Fresno Watchdogs for Ethical Bidding. I have no idea of what that group is referenced in the other letter. I'm here tonight a little different from my previous
Mr. Mackey, I
appearances.
believe you do not represent that group. We have that you have a cease and desist.
Are you granting me extra time then, so I can review this letter? Because the people that I represent call themselves Fresno Watchdogs for Ethical Bidding. They gave me permission to be here tonight.
And you have a cease and desist from that attorney that tells you not to use that. Not that. You can't use
Mary
that
Beth,
name.
Mr. Goad, excuse me, Mr. Goad, can you weigh in on this?
Thank you, Member De La Cerda.
This is public comment. I think he said he's not going to address that letter and speaking on some other issue.
As long as he doesn't use that name. Go ahead, Mr. Mackey.
Excuse me, respectfully,
Member
Mr.
De La Cerda,
Goad,
let him.
may we please restart our clock?
Member De La Cerda, Mr. Mackey, go ahead.
Okay, I'm here tonight.
We're not.
Not to discuss the ethics of bidding of Mr. Ashton, but something that does touch on ethics regarding Mr. Ashton. This is not the first time he has made disparaging remarks about the gay LGBT community. I've been in possession of deposition transcripts of Mr. Ashton recently where he testified as to comments made on a website called Ripoff Reports, where he was making a comment or comments regarding gay Fresno. I have the presentation is submitted to the board. I have extra copies for the public or media if they wish. These comments I don't feel are appropriate to share here. Apparently there's only 3 postings on Ripoff Reports about gay Fresno, and Mr. Ashton testified he did in fact post something on Ripoff Reports about gay Fresno. I leave it to you, members of the board and members of the public, to make your own opinions as to the propriety of the comments made by Mr. Ashton in his testimony. He could not remember anything he said as to those reports. Whichever one it was apparently 1 out of the 3, because he testified the 3 were the universe of comments made on Ripoff Reports. And so this is not the first time. I hope it's the last, but the board needs to take this into consideration. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Mackey. Item Agenda B20.
Excuse me, prior to going forward, since we've made it a possibility to speak, I'd like to speak. Because we've had
we're not going to follow the agenda.
What I
too would like to make a statement.
We can do it. Members of the board, if
I'd
you'd
like
like
to say-
Member De La Cerda, just a moment, please. If you'd like to make a statement, you're welcome to do it during board superintendent communications, but we're going to follow the agenda.
I would like to apologize for
Member
those
De
who
La
were
Cerda.
I would like to
early
make a
and-
statement regarding the last
Yes,
speakers.
that's fine.
We've allowed this in the past.
Member De La Cerda.
We allowed,
Member De La
respectfully, we've
Cerda.
allowed this in the past.
You're out of order, Member De La Cerda. We're going to go to item B20.
Can we have legal counsel?
Approve
I'd
budget.
like to make a comment.
Member Davis.
I'd like to make a comment.
We're going to follow the agenda
like to
tonight
make a
of
comment.
agenda item B20. Approve
We
the
have
budget
some
revision
legal
number
counsel at
1
this
for
time,
fiscal
please.
year 2017-2018. Presentation by
Superintendent
Deputy
Nelson, can we have some legal counsel at this
Superintendent
time?
Quinto. Ms. Quinto, please come to the podium.
Ms. Quinto, respectfully, can you,
Member De La Cerda, you are not in charge of this meeting,
Ms.
but thank
Quinto,
you very much.
respectfully?
Ms. Quinto has to come to the podium now. She's been called on by the president.
Thank you, Ms.
I'd like to
Quinto.
make a comment.
You're more than welcome to make a comment.
Well, I'd like
at-
to make a comment for our
Yeah, you're-
community at this time.
Member
I want to thank
Member
everyone that
Davis.
came today,
Member
and I would
Davis.
like to
Member Davis.
apologize. I would like to
Member
apologize.
Davis.
I would like to apologize
Member
if they
Davis.
feel marginalized and offended by
Member
recent
Davis.
publicized
Member
remarks.
Davis. Order,
I guarantee
please.
you, as a
Member
trustee,
Davis.
I will work to
Member
make the
Davis.
students feel
We're
and
not in political
staff
season. Member
inclusive
Davis.
and diverse.
Ms. Quinto, please
accepted.
come to the podium. Thank you. We're going
Thank
to
you,
do
community, for
B20.
coming tonight. I appreciate listening to you. Thank you.
Member,
Good evening, Ms.
Member
Quinto. May I
Deputy
speak?
Superintendent Quinto, go ahead.
Mrs. Quinto, may I speak to you?
No, we're
Ms.
going
Quinto?
to follow the order. Thank you, though.
Ms. Quinto, may I speak to you?
Member De La Cerda, you're out of order. Member Quinto,
I would
Ms.
like
Quinto,
to, Ms.
please.
Quinto, I would like to
We're going to have
apologize
order in this meeting. We
to
are going to
those
have
who are
order, Member
clearly
De La
deeply
Cerda, in this
offended
meeting.
by the
Member
comments
De
that
La
were
Cerda,
made.
I
I
will
would like
stop the meeting
the
if you'd
community
like.
to know
I can stop the meeting
that
if you'd
this
like, and we
is
can come
not
back once
the view of the
you're
board.
more than welcome
This
to
is
come
not the
back.
view of those individuals.
Member De La
So
Cerda,
I'd like to
we're not going to do this
deeply
right now.
apologize to those members
Member
that
De
were
La Cerda, thank you.
I think I'm the only one on this
Member
board
De La
that is
Cerda,
taught
we have a rule,
human
Robert's Rule of
sexuality.
Order, and we're not going to do this right now, but you're welcome to have
Respectfully, Mr.
comments at the
Ashton,
board and superintendent
we have-
comment, but we're not going to change the
You have
agenda.
done enough over
Thank
the
you.
past to just
Member Quinto,
step on
please
Robert's
come.
rules.
Member Quinto,
You have done
please come to the
plenty
podium.
to step on Robert's rules,
Member,
Mr. Ashjian.
Ms. Quinto will now
You rarely
approach.
follow
Member-
Robert's rules.
Okay, folks.
Mary Beth.
Okay, folks, just a reminder, we represent children in this effort.
Thank you. We're going to follow the agenda. Every person.
I get it. I totally get that, and I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you coming to speak on behalf of the community to make certain that all voices are heard, and I'm very thankful for that. But I do not want to model for our community the sense of reality that we're experiencing right now. We have to have a model. The city expects us to conduct our business in a dignified and organized manner. I deeply appreciate you being here to speak on behalf of the community, but we can't have our meetings devolve into something that they ought not be.
Thank you. Ms. Quinto, please come to the podium.
I agree.
We're going to do item B20, and then when we're done, we have board
Mr.
superintendent.
President,
Yes.
would it be appropriate at this point in time to take a break or adjourn the meeting for a moment, take a break so that we can get
We'll take
the matter in order?
a 10-minute break and come back and we'll start the meeting back at 7:15.
Okay. Well, I'd like to speak to the press. Take a break.
I do have some thoughts about how I would spend the additional money, but I'm not going to, spit those out tonight. I'd be happy to share those with the interim superintendent and put those in the mix with what other board members feel we should be doing with the one-time money. With respect to all of the remarks tonight, I do appreciate the community coming out and in a respectful manner, following our protocol, sharing your thoughts and opinions about the remarks. And as Mr. Ashton knows, I called him and shared with him my thoughts about his remarks and that I did not agree with him. I also shared that with the media when they contacted me. They didn't report all of my remarks. But I also want to say that I am disappointed in 2 board members who disrupted this meeting and didn't follow the protocol when you had the opportunity to share your thoughts with the board president, to share them with the media, and to say in a respectful manner, following our procedures, to be rude and unprofessional when the community was not, is inappropriate and uncalled for.
Member Cazares.
So I'll start with my appreciation for the community members that came out in support of the LGBTQ community. I hope that you continue to feel welcome in our communities and our schools, and I hope that you continue to feel safe in our schools as well. Again, I appreciate you for coming out here. You're an important part of our community, and I hope you know that this trustee stands by you. In addition, I wanted to add, Interim Superintendent, after we heard last week about Fresno City College's partnership with FACTS and the City of Fresno, I contacted my council member Soria about possibly partnering with Fresno Unified School District and FACTS and seeing how we could obtain some similar services for all of our students, not just the students that don't have bus services to their schools, to their designated schools, and hopefully being able to provide that service to students who need it for a job or need it to go to an extracurricular activity or anything else. And it was stated by Mr. Madden that if we could teach our kids early on to rely on the bus service, it will make adults that rely on the bus service and also lower some of our emissions and make our earth greener. So if we could do that at an early age, that I'd be very supportive of that. I know there's going to be some meetings that are going to be set up between the administration of the city and FUSD administration, so thank you for following up on that. And then lastly, well, 2 more things. Just want to thank everybody that came out tonight, and I want to tell all of our teachers going back to school already and those starting classes on the 14th. I want to wish you the best of luck. I know that it's a very tough profession, that it's a labor of love, and I appreciate you coming out every year after year to teach our kids. I have 2 in the system in Fresno Unified, so as a mom, thank you. Lastly, this is just my probably 10th pitch to see if we could move at least, and maybe have it twice, member comments, trustee comments to the beginning of the meeting, because I think, for example, today with some of the community issues, it would have been important for us to come out in front and provide some of our comments and our words, reassuring words at the beginning of the meeting, and maybe it's a 2-minute cap on trustee comments at the beginning of the meeting and limitless at the end. But I'm going to keep asking my fellow trustees to consider that until I'm given a resounding no. But thank you.
I wasn't planning on speaking, but...
Member Jonathan Rosas.
But I'm speaking. Yes, and I just wanted to show support for Member Casares' comment. I don't know administratively what the process would be for amending the agenda order, but I think a lot of our comments today were ending early for our standards, but if it's at 10:30, 11, we've lost a lot of people, and I think that our comments are important for the community to hear. So I would second that if they were a motion.
Member De La Cerda.
Yes, interim Superintendent Nelson, I'd like to again ask for some information on maybe a board communication on where we are with our special ed audit, so that we know what's taking place, and hopefully we can get that moving in a little bit quicker manner, that we can address the issues of our special needs students. Thank you. I appreciate Member Mills' comments about following order, but I would maybe ask that we review the meetings of this past year, and it'll show that the board president has made comments after public individuals have come up and commented, and he's done that often, not following protocol. He did that today when one individual came up and he interrupted him. That's against protocol. So I took the opportunity to do the same. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to say, on behalf of our board, I apologize for those individuals who were offended, or who were hurt, or who were frightened by the comments that were made. It's not reflective of us as a board, of our school, of our district. I think I'm the only board member here that has taught human sexuality. I taught it for several years. And, well, I taught it in the classroom. I taught my kids as well, teach my kids, and continue to teach my kids. And I thank you for pointing that out, because there's a difference. The expectation for teachers when we ask teachers to teach is to teach informationally. We want them to teach to the education, not moralistically. We don't teach that, our moral viewpoints. I am a devout Christian, a Catholic, and whatever my viewpoints might be, which actually is not coincide with what has been made, the statements have been made in the paper, but whatever my viewpoints are, they were never to be imposed upon our students. We don't expect our teachers to be imposing their viewpoints in that manner upon our students. So it's imperative for us, Mr. Superintendent, that we make sure that we're training our teachers as we roll out this program, to make sure that they are aware that this is the right way to teach. Those moral views and values, those issues as sensitive as those are best left over to the guardians, to the parents, to family. Not necessarily to friends, because we know what can be said in that respect. So I just, once again, want to apologize to the community at large who were offended by those comments. And I thank you for coming out and speaking. And I do apologize if my eagerness and my passion to tell you this was disruptive and broke decorum. I apologize. But I do not apologize for what I feel is important, or I do not apologize for my passion in saying this. So thank you so much.
I want to just take a moment and thank the people that came out tonight. There was a variety of them, and multiple different groups that came, and I am impressed with the civility, the humility, and the passion of which you came, and the fact that you had to come down here tonight because you felt that there was, whether I was quoted correctly or quoted incorrectly, that you had to come down and express your opinion. And for that, I'm truly sorry, because this board and my position here is about children. I've never distinguished between whether they were gay or whether they were this or whether they were that or whether they were white or whether they're from North Fresno, South Fresno, whatever they were, to me they were always children, and my votes have always reflected that way, including with our sex ed protocol that we implemented 2 years ago. So for that, I want to tell the LGBT community that came here tonight, I'm impressed that you came here tonight. I appreciate you expressing your views, and for you to have to come all the way down here, whether you agreed with me or whether you didn't, it's truly in my heart an apology to you that you feel that you might have been slighted, and that was never the intent. So with that, I'm glad that you're here tonight, and I hope that you will come back. And if nothing else, I hope that we inspired parents and others to talk about sexual education with their children, that this debate is going to hopefully do what we're trying to do in the schools with the most advanced curriculum in the state of California that's been around now for a while. And with that, we close the meeting and no further discussion. 7:50.